Now we're gonna work on our main dish and our side dishes for our ultimate Valentine's dinner in for two. We're gonna do a steak on the stovetop. You don't need a grill for this. We're doing a butter-basted steak with rosemary, and we're gonna do asparagus wrapped in pancetta with some oven roasted tomatoes. If you saw my Instagram or Facebook story yesterday, you saw me talking about these wintertime tomatoes, and I have the key to a tasty tomato for you. Let's get started. Now we're gonna prepare our asparagus. I've washed this asparagus, and I'm gonna show you how you prepare your asparagus. If you've never cleaned asparagus, once you've washed it, you wanna grab the stem end, and it will break where it starts to get tough and fibrous, where it's hard to chew. And you just quickly snap off those ends. No need for a knife for this, it's really simple. It just naturally breaks at that fibrous point. Some of them break higher up, but that's okay. You don't want to try and chew that when you're at the table with the one you love. This is one of my favorite side dishes, and it's so simple. So if you're making something complicated or you're having some friends over, this is a great dish to make because it's so easy. It comes together so quickly. And I'll show you that. This one's already broken. Yep, that one was already broken off. Pre-prepared for us. All right, so I went to the deli counter at my grocery store, and they had rolled pancetta. And the reason I like that is because you'll see when we prepare this, I vacuum packed this so it would last longer in my fridge. It works so nicely in this recipe. If your grocery store happens to carry Boar's Head brand meat, I'm not always partial to that, but for this, they have this rolled pancetta, and I get it shaved really thin, and you'll see why. If I can get it out of this package nicely. So I'll put this board down here. Each little piece comes off in a long little strip because it's rolled up, and I can cut it oftentimes in two pieces, and then I wrap it. If the asparagus is thin, I wrap one around one piece of asparagus and lay it on my baking sheet. You don't have to be exact with this. Pancetta is salty. It's an uncured Italian bacon style product. So since it's thin, it'll crisp up quickly in the oven at 450 degrees. Sometimes if the asparagus is really thin, I'll wrap a piece around two pieces of asparagus. The reason I'm telling you this is so salty is we do not salt the asparagus. We will put pepper on it once we get them wrapped. But I'm going to continue to wrap these, and I'll show you what they look like once I get my tray loaded. See how simple that comes together? So I want you to be able to see how I wrapped this asparagus and the pancetta. I got all of those asparagus wrapped, and I have pancetta left over. I had bought a ½ pound of thin sliced, I think at my deli that was a number 2. It wasn't shaved, it was the next thinnest slice. And each circle of that rolled pancetta I was able to cut in 2 pieces to wrap around these asparagus spears because they're probably about the diameter of my pinky. And you may be wondering what this little foil boat here is on my sheet tray. I have a huge sheet tray here. It's for my tomatoes. We're gonna roast tomatoes as a side dish too, because I finally found a January, February tomato that is worthy of eating, and I love them roasted, and it's so simple, but they're gonna give off a lot of juice. And this pancetta gets crunchy and it's delicious, and we don't want it to get wet from the juice from the tomatoes. So to finish this asparagus, all we've done is wrap the washed and dried asparagus in the pancetta. We're gonna add a little bit of fresh cracked black pepper because the pancetta has enough salt of its own. That is it. 3 ingredients: salt, asparagus, pancetta. I have these CAMPARI tomatoes. I'm going to go wash them and we'll get them ready. All right, I rinsed these tomatoes in their container. I wanted you to see what it looks like. At my store, they come in this little blister pack like the strawberries and blueberries often do. And their variety name is a CAMPARI tomato. And for a wintertime tomato, they are delicious. They taste like candy. They're little. They come on the vine. I've washed them. There's a little stem. And I'm gonna throw them here on this foil so that we don't get tomato juice all over our asparagus. And then we're simply going to drizzle these with some olive oil and roll them around. Nothing really exotic and fancy. Just roll them in the olive oil. And my oven is preheated to 425. And as soon as I get my cast iron skillet hot enough to start this steak, we'll throw all of this in so everything finishes about the same time. Space those out good, and we will get started on the steak. There are the vegetables, all ready to go. I want you to see the vegetables. In reality, these vegetables took 11 or 12 minutes to cook. I want to hold these tomatoes up and see if you can see them without busting them. See how their skins have burst open? These are so delicious. I'm gonna scoot them together here just a little bit, and I'm gonna add just the tiniest sprinkling of salt to the tomatoes. Just a little bit, because the asparagus is gonna be salty, but oh so good. So it was just a teensy little bit of salt to the tomatoes. And I'm going to assemble a plate so you can see how this ultimate Valentine's dinner comes together so easy, and our steak is resting over here to the side. It's time to assemble our plate. Now I had the steaks on the stove in the cast iron skillet for 8 minutes, 4 minutes each side. While they were on the second side, I basted them with the pan juices, which was the butter olive oil mixture. And the vegetables ended up being in the oven maybe 10 or 11 minutes, which gave the steaks some time to rest. So I'm going to assemble a plate so you can see how our meal comes together. So there's a few sprigs of asparagus. Be very careful with your tomatoes. Their blistered skin is very delicate. Oh my gosh, these are so good. And one of these beautiful and delicious steaks. I'm going to bring you closer so you can see how wonderful this is. I want you to see this. See how tender the asparagus is, but it's not wobbly or too soft, and the pancetta has gotten a good crisp. That is so delicious. You're gonna wanna eat the whole pan. It's for Valentine's Day, so if you wanna eat a whole pan of asparagus, just say it's really healthy. See these blistered skins on these tomatoes? Aren't they beautiful? Let's cut this steak. See how we did. Nice. It's a beautiful medium. Might be a little over for me, but I'm probably in the minority on that. Cut a small piece so I can still talk to you when I taste it. But it's delicious. Let's have a tomato. You don't really need a knife, but I want to get the inside. These are probably hot with all that juice. They're not, but oh my goodness, those taste so good. I hope this ultimate Valentine's dinner at home feels like something that you can accomplish on your own, and that the demonstration for getting your side dishes and your main dish done in a same amount of time is something you feel like you can accomplish now. I hope you have a wonderful Valentine's Day with the one that you love.